Okay, to make your timeline, you're going to go to Excel, choose a blank workbook. The first thing you need to do is get your page break, so you'll go to File, Print, and then you can hit Cancel. That will tell you where your page breaks are. Then you need to decide if you are going to leave your page layout as portrait or if you need to change it to landscape. It just depends on how many days you how many years you have that you need to represent on your timeline. I'm going to change mine to landscape just to make sure I have enough room. Then, if I need to make my cells smaller, I'm going to put my mouse on the letter A. You can see that my cursor now looks like a black down arrow. And if I click on it, it selects the entire column. That's very different than going like this. That's selecting just a specific area. We don't want to do that. We want to select the entire column, and I can then drag across, right click, go to column width, and I can change my column width to what I need it to be in order for me to fit in all my years. Remember that when we make a timeline, each one of these columns represents 1 year worth of time and space. So then I'm going to go ahead and highlight across my sheet here and right click and go to Format Cells. I'll go ahead and choose a nice dark line for my border. And so right now, if I go to File, Print, and take a look at my preview, this is what I have so far. Then using my textbook on page 312 and 313, I could go ahead and choose the dates that I want to use. You're not going to use all of them. You need to choose 5 of them. And you can choose whatever 5 you want, but they should represent some of the different events that you are talking about in your keynote presentation. So if you're talking about the gangsters, you should have something about the gangsters. If you are talking about the Great Depression as far as the stock market crash, you should have an event having to do with that. So you want to make sure that you're choosing good events in there. So for example, let's say I start with 1920. So I'm going to highlight going up, right click, format my cells, put my border on. Then I need to change my alignment. I'm going to change my orientation, merge the cells, and wrap the text. I can hit OK. Then I could go ahead and type in 1920, and I could go ahead and type in my fact. Now, you don't need to type in everything that the book has. You could go ahead and paraphrase it. If you want to type everything that the book has, that's fine too. That's up to you. So I have that in. The next one I might want to do is maybe 1927. So if this is 1920, I need to count across 1921, 1922, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I'm going to be working in column H. Again, I'm going to right click, format the cells, change my orientation, merge, wrap, and put my border on, and hit OK. Once I do that, then I can go ahead and type in. So 1927, and I could go ahead and type my event, which I have Minnesota's Charles A. Lindbergh Jr. becomes the first pilot to fly alone and nonstop between New York and Paris. So I'm going to go ahead and just paraphrase that with Lindbergh becomes first pilot to fly from New York to Paris. And then I could go ahead. You could see because I had more text, it did go ahead and wrap it down to a second line. So that's fantastic. So now I would continue on. Maybe I have my next event in 1929. So that would be column J, just going that this is the year of 1928. This is 1929. So I would go ahead and continue on this process, creating my timeline with 5 different events. Again, it can be any events that are listed on pages 312 or through 313, or any events that you find in the chapter that we're using, which is chapter 15. So any of those events would work just fine, but you do need a specific year. You can't put in here 1927 to 1930. That doesn't work. It needs to be one specific year that you can point an event to. So we're not looking at a group of years, we're looking at one specific year.